Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6, have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players you have to know about. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope all is doing well. We're ready to rock and roll here. FTM Fantasy College Basketball Show. Mike Randle here with you. We are rolling. March Madness is coming. I got the landing page coming out later. And as you can see on the bottom, we have promo codes. And promo codes are good for you and good for everyone. Make sure you use the promo code there at the bottom. You can see it coming spring 15. Get you 15% off. And we have incredible stuff in store for you. The MLB package is flying off the shelves. Sirius XM, I'm talking about every night. We're breaking down position by position. Vlad Sedler has all the insights. It's constantly updated. You're not going to find a better baseball preview with more updates that are constant where you can look at each of the positions better than at FTM Fantasy. So you have to join us there. Appreciate everybody here. We're going to go through the games. As always, we'll do a little bit here. Then we'll get into the Discord for the subs. I already have a ton of plays in the Discord for the subs already. So we want to make sure that we get in there. And you want to be there for March because once March hits, it's going to be conference tournament time. It's going to be Frank Brank's models. It's going to be March Madness. I told you Florida Atlantic 2 years ago. I told you Clemson to the Final Four. We fell uber short on that one. I already have a couple teams. I'm going to look at the brackets. It's about the matchups. And there are things that are going to come forward in March Madness that you won't be able to understand until you actually see the bracket. And that's where we excel. So ready to rock and roll. Here we go. Let's get to the picks and go through it today. Tonight, if you're listening to Sirius XM Radio, I am going again on Channel 82, Mad Dog Radio with the VSiN guys. I have been on that show 7 times. I've made 7 college basketball picks. They've all been correct. So tonight we are looking to go 8 for 8. Now, the tricky part about that show is I usually go on about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So the pick has to come from a small subset of games that start later. So some of these games I like actually start earlier. I have to make a pick from the later games, which is why this is even crazier that we've gone 7 for 7. So make sure you join us there as well. That will be announced to the subs first, and then I will be live on Sirius talking to Patrick Maher and Dustin Sweetelson. Anyway, moving on. I think this is a good spot for Santa Clara today. Shout out to my buddy Gus Kearns, who's here at FTM with me, who told me to be careful with the Gonzaga St. Mary's game, and he was right. When was the last time Gonzaga was swept by St. Mary's? Very, very odd. Now they're facing a Santa Clara team. Now it's tricky here because Gonzaga lost at home to Santa Clara 103-99. So this should be a payback spot. But the reason I'm on the other side is I think 6.5 points is a lot. And Santa Clara has played really well. They beat Washington State away, hung 109. They beat Loyola Marymount, San Diego, Portland, Pacific. They have struggled with St. Mary's, a disciplined defensive team that slows them down. I know Gonzaga's out for blood here, but St. Mary's, but Santa Clara has played exceptionally well. They make their free throws 80%. That's top 6 in the country. They are great at they're solid on the free throw line. They're great on the offensive boards. They do play with a good pace. I think this is a good matchup here. I like the 6.5. It's late tonight, but I am on board with Santa Clara getting 6.5. Could they possibly sweep? Could Gonzaga get swept by St. Mary's and Santa Clara? Is that possible? I'd like to know. Let's see what happens. Eastern Michigan was investigated because of the gambling issues there for a while, but I think they've kind of righted the ship. And Bowling Green is coming off a big win where they shot exceptionally well from 3-point range. And I kind of wonder if they can do that again. Bowling Green had the big win over Toledo. It was a payback game, beat them away 69-68. In that game, Bowling Green shot well from 3, great on the boards, and made a couple really key shots down the stretch. I kind of like Eastern Michigan here. Eastern Michigan has won 4 of their last 5. They've won 3 straight games. They beat Toledo. They've played very well at home since the Kent blowout defeat, and they should have almost won at Ball State away. So Eastern Michigan's playing well. Sort of a letdown spot for Bowling Green. I am going with Eastern Michigan there. I'm off of App State. I like Georgia Southern in this matchup, plus 2.5 against App State. App State, I've tried to stay with them. The consistency just isn't there. And when they made their run, I thought that was going to carry them through the rest of the season. When you have a team like App State and they get hot under Dustin Kearns after struggling, and you see that hot run, it goes one of two ways. Either it continues straight through for the rest of the season, they play solidly well, or they start to regress. Well, the regression has happened. They lost to Georgia State away, they lost to Marshall at home, and they barely beat Georgia Southern at home in overtime 2 games ago. So I think Georgia Southern be ready for the bounce back here, ready for the payback spot. Dustin Kearns is a great coach. This is not a vintage App State team. Worst team in the Sun Belt in free throw shooting. Offense has really struggled. Also terrible on the offensive boards, going with them there. A couple other games I want to mention, then we're going to head over to the Discord. I'm not picking this game. This is not a pick here. I don't see how you can take Miami, and I'm well aware that laying big numbers, 15, 17 points, is something that you don't want to do right now because it's late in the season. College basketball teams are familiar, and it's just very difficult to win a game by 20 points. But Miami is just dead man walking, and the only argument here would be that Duke is in a letdown spot. They look exceptionally good against Illinois. I am not picking this game, but for me, it's either Duke or nothing. I have no interest in Miami on this side. They just don't look good. They don't look good. They lost Larinaga. The name, image, and likeness did not work this year. So I am fading them. No interest there. I do think Richmond bounces back here against VCU. I think Richmond is well coached by Chris Mooney at home, and this is 15 points, and it's on the road. And they played VCU away and got absolutely destroyed. But VCU now is 12-2 in the Atlantic 10. They are tied with George Mason, so they can't get tripped up per se. But I just think with Davidson home, Duquesne, Dayton, there's some other more important games coming up. I can't see them winning by this amount on the road. They went on the road to G-Dub and won by 8. They went on the road to Dayton. They won by 5. They went away to St. Louis and lost. The only game that they really dominated was Rhode Island away, who can be absolutely anemic on offense. But I kind of trust Richmond at home. And Chris Mooney is a really good coach. Spider shooting 84% from the free throw line. Just feels like one too many points here, so I would consider that one also. Let's see. I don't like laying big numbers, but this is the absolute last game and last hope for Illinois. Brad Underwood is an exceptional coach, and the two teams that have really struggled here lately have been Illinois and Kansas, two of the bigger teams. Illinois has lost 3 straight games: Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Duke. They had a sickness that ripped through the entire team, the flu. They should be getting healthier for this game. A lot of travel. Now they're home against Iowa. They have not played Iowa this year. Iowa just terrible defensively. And Illinois is a team that when they're home, they usually dominate and roll. You know, when they were healthy earlier this year, 91 against Penn State, they won by almost 40. 81, they ended up playing, they had big numbers in the non-conference at home. Little Rock, they put up 92. Oakland, they were even able to get 66, and Oakland is a pretty tough team. They were home against Ohio State. They blew them out 87-79. At home against UCLA, they got the win by 5. So now they're playing Iowa here, and I know that this is a big number, but if not now, when for Illinois? Illinois at home, fast pace, against a team that doesn't play any defense. I think this is a good Illinois spot, and I hate laying this amount of points, so I would consider going there as well. That is it for these picks. Let's see if you got some you want me to talk about here in the comments. Let's go through it. Austin, I agree. Austin, Scott Cross has had a ton of trouble with Texas State. It's almost like his nemesis because they play slow and a physical brand of basketball. Texas State beat them 74-73 at Troy earlier this year. The year before, they beat Troy on the road by 13. They beat Troy at home in overtime and lost on the road by 13. The year before, they lost at home by 3, then lost away by 4. These games are usually very close, but I do think at this point, Troy is ready to get this Texas State sort of albatross around them away. I think that Troy is going to make a deep run in the Sun Belt Conference here. They're 11-5. They're 1 game behind James Madison. Now, James Madison has to slip up for them to get up there and get a taste of the league title. But I do think that James Madison plays Louisiana Monroe away today. I don't think they're losing that one. The question is, can they lose to Texas State? I think Troy has its eye on making the NCAA tournament. I like Scott Cross. I love the defense. I love the forcing turnovers. I love the offensive rebounding. They just struggle from 3-point range. Texas State is terrible at defending the 3-point range. They're the worst team. So all we need tonight is for Troy to get hot a little bit on the road, and I think that is possible. So I would consider that as well. Jerry, good to see you as well. I I said Santa Clara, Jerry. I think it's too much. I know it's a payback spot for Gonzaga, but they did not look good. They were ready. They were really fired up for that St. Mary's game, and they laid an egg. So you can't tell me that was a sleepy spot. I think Gonzaga's in some struggles right now. Hard for me to see them turn it around here in the very next game, because if they were going to give max effort, it was going to be there. And now they're going on the road to Santa Clara. It's going to be a packed house. They're going to be fired up. Hard for me to see that. Yeah, I get it. I do quantitative, but I'm off of them. I can't take that anymore. I do like Army quantitative in this battle. Also, I think this is a very smart pick. Army has been playing above their head. They actually thought they could win the Patriot. That's not going to happen more than likely. You have American, which has a 2-game lead over Army and 1-game lead over Bucknell. And remember, that was an odd line, that game. That was a very, very odd line, because it was one of those situations that I think was bizarre, in that Army was an underdog by 8.5, something like that, to Bucknell. It made absolutely no sense, because that game should have been a lot closer, and it wasn't. I'm fine with the Army game tonight. I think they show up against Lafayette. It's gone a little bit too far. Army beat them by 2 at home, but they are coming off the loss to Bucknell. And I feel like the read on Army is, when we think they play well, they don't. And when we think they're going to lose, they usually play well. Costco, I get it. Let me look at Louisville. It was a lot of points. Was it at Virginia Tech, I think? Let's see. Yeah, let me see here. Hold on. There it is. They've been playing exceptionally well. Virginia Tech haven't played yet this year. It is on the road. Virginia Tech does not look good. It just feels like a lot of points. It's a night game. I would lean Louisville if you made me pick it, but I just think there's better spots tonight. Yeah, I think Georgia's going to play well. I don't like laying 6 points quantitative in a Power 6 road game. It makes me nervous. Florida is substantially better than Georgia, but you know that that's a big matchup. They beat Georgia by 30 at home. I don't think Mike White is very good. I would rather it be 3 or 4, which is unrealistic. I do lean Florida. That's one I may add for the subs later. You know my thoughts on Mike White. It's just the offense. The offense is never good with Mike White, and it's got worse as the year's gone on. But it is a rivalry game, and it is 6.5. I think there's better spots. Let's see. Nick likes Troy first half. That's fine. Helms, I'm going against Baylor. Reason being, there's a couple teams that absolutely need the win today, and I think that's worth considering. Georgia's desperate against Florida. I think that's a huge one. I think Cincinnati can actually make an argument for the tournament if they beat Baylor. And Baylor has not played well this year, and they're missing the backup to Norchad Omir. Josh O, he is out again, and they have really struggled since that. You have Bama against Mississippi State, which again is, I think, a very close game, because I'm fading Bama. Illinois is absolutely desperate against Iowa as well. So, yeah, I like Cincinnati in that matchup. That's my choice there for that one. And that's it, guys. Okay, we're headed over to let me get rid of that. We're headed over to the Discord. As always, join us there in the Discord. You got the promo code at the bottom here. Baseball package is ready to go. Gave you the preview, little taste. Join us, FTM Fantasy. College basketball, March Madness. We'll have your brackets. We'll have your sleepers. We'll have your upsets. We'll have everything, your futures, whatever you want. But you got to get us in the Discord, because that's where we're live and that's where we can interact and we get those plays in. And all of these plays, the majority of them, my top plays, were in last night. So the subs have them already. FTM Fantasy, it's the best time of year. It's February 25th. We're close to March. We find you the edge. I'll see you in the Discord.